Good afternoon, 49er faithful. Welcome to another episode of the 49ers Mailbag Live. I am your host, Rob Schuh. Very excited to get into the mailbag today. It is definitely going to be a Trey Lance-centric type of mailbag. The submissions that we had today were overwhelmingly asking about Trey Lance, and no real surprise there. It doesn't shock me that everyone is floored by the injury news about Jimmy Garoppolo and certainly excited about the energy that Trey Lance may bring to the 49ers in this one, in particular, as the 49ers go into two very much needed wins in order to make the playoffs. I mean, you're looking at Trey Lance making his second start coming up against the Houston Texans in a must-win game. If the 49ers win against the Texans and the Saints do, in fact, lose to the Carolina Panthers, you could have a situation where the 49ers clinch. Otherwise, the 49ers will need to then win their next game against the Los Angeles Rams, who are absolutely looking for payback. And then the fourth start would be Trey Lance headed into the playoffs. So again, no surprise that 49er faithful are asking questions about Trey Lance. As the mailbag always unfolds, I have the previously submitted questions that I'm going to go through first. I will be going through those, and as I'm reading through those questions, I welcome those of you here to put your questions into the chat. And do me a favor and hit that at Rob Schuh, or at least at Rob, when you throw those questions into the chat so that I know that they're directed at me and not conversation amongst one another. I did want to start this broadcast with, something on the sadder side. For those of you that may not have been following on Twitter or ESPN, some unfortunate news just came out about the passing of John Madden today at the age of 85, just moments ago. The NFL released a statement. Here it is. The NFL announces the passing of John Madden. Earlier today, we received the sad news that the great John Madden died unexpectedly this morning. He was 85. On behalf of the entire NFL family, we extend our condolences to Virginia, Mike, Joe, and their families, said NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. We all know him as the Hall of Fame coach and the Oakland Raiders and broadcaster who worked for every major network. But more than anything, he was a devoted husband, father, and grandfather. Nobody loved football more than Coach. He was football. He was an incredible sounding board to me and so many others. There will never be another John Madden, and we will forever be indebted to him for all he did to make football and the NFL what it is today. Memorial service information will be announced when available. It's crazy to think that his All Madden documentary was just released on Christmas. Sad day in many regards in the passing of John Madden. He inspired me. I mean, from a NFL standpoint, certainly his history goes back further than I do. From watching football, though, my childhood memories are John Madden on television. And watching him, Thanksgiving days, talk about his turducken and all of his Maddenisms that he would have on the broadcast really was special. He's a treasured memory as a part of the NFL for me. And obviously being a kid of the 80s and 90s, the Madden football game changed my life in many regards. I mean, it brought me into the world of football in a way that potentially I wouldn't have known until later in life. By exposing me to the joy of that game and listening to his sound bites over and over and over again. So I just wanted to take a moment and share my appreciation for John Madden and what he brought to me with regard to the NFL, and take a moment just to express my gratitude for him, what he brought to the game, and a moment of silence for he and his family. Here's to you, John. All right. On to more positive notes. Just wanted to take that moment to share about it. Chris coming in, my favorite John Madden moment. It really is him alongside Al Michaels, him alongside Pat Summerall. literally, playing those games, those Madden football games, and hearing him over and over and over again on loop, those were all a part of who he was. And certainly the funny way with which he played with words and the way that it came across as joyful in the broadcast, always special. But I will say that my favorite memories tied to John Madden had to do with his love of that football dish, of that Thanksgiving dish, of that turducken dish, and his breakdown of just why he found that to be so fascinating. For those who do not know, the dish is, in fact, 3 birds stuffed inside one another. So a turkey outer shell stuffed with a duck that had already been stuffed with a chicken. And, who doesn't love a meal like that on a day like Thanksgiving? Just the joy he would take in describing that. You can find it on YouTube. I suggest doing just that. Pay your respects to John Madden by going and finding some YouTube highlights of him talking football, because there was nothing that he enjoyed more. Very sad day for football fans, for me in particular, in learning that. Did want to pay my respects. I'm not going to, take this entire show down a dark way. I think that we can pay tribute to John by talking football, because that's what John loved to do, and that was his passion. And I share that passion with John. And so that's what I am going to do in talking about the San Francisco 49ers, in particular focused on our man, Trey Lance. Getting into our topics for today. Again, feel free to put your mailbag questions directly into the chat. Hit me with @Rob Schuh when you do so that when I get through a few of these previously submitted ones, I can get to your live questions and comments as well. This first one's coming in from 49ers Hive via Twitter. Do you like the Niners' chances in the postseason, if they make the playoffs, more or less with Lance as the starter? First of all, let's talk a little bit about if they make the playoffs. The 49ers control their own destiny yet again. Winning out ensures the 49ers make the playoffs. If they beat Houston and then travel to LA and beat the Rams, the 49ers are in. If they beat Houston this weekend and New Orleans loses to Carolina at home, then the 49ers clinch a spot this weekend and don't need to win against LA. But they control their own destiny. That is the most essential portion to this. So if they make the playoffs by winning these games, by controlling that destiny and forcing their way into the playoffs, do I believe that they have a better chance with Lance as the starter? I got to say, I'm going to attack this one from both sides. I'm going to say yes and no. And I'm going to start with the negative so that I can end on the positive. So why wouldn't the 49ers have a better chance in the playoffs with Trey Lance behind the helm? I think you have to say that Jimmy knew the offense best, right? Jimmy has been in this offense now for 4 years. Clearly was operating at the line of scrimmage with a lot more knowledge than a rookie. He's seen a lot more defensive fronts. He's seen a lot more adjustments in real time. He has done a great job of getting the 49ers into position pre-snap this season, setting up the run game for the success that we have all seen. Coach Shanahan sent a very clear message that he thinks Jimmy gives him the best shot at winning by playing him. Take a look at the Steve Young interview. To me, I agree wholeheartedly that you can only interpret Coach Shanahan by his actions. You must assume that he wants to win at all costs. It saves his job security. It saves the job security of his friends and close associates that work on his staff. So you have to imagine he is attempting to win every game. And if he thought that Trey Lance gave him a better shot of winning, he would have put him in prior to now. If he thought that Trey Lance could have provided a spark by bringing him in on a package of plays, he would have done so in an effort to win now. He didn't. So Shanahan clearly sent the message that he thought Jimmy gave us the better shot at winning. This offense was completely set up around Jimmy to execute over the middle with a quick release, setting up for yards after the catch. When you move over to a much more mobile quarterback, you're looking at a completely different system. Shanahan said as much. He said it was difficult going back and forth in between the signal callers, that calling plays for two separate quarterbacks was challenging to him. The line is used to blocking for a far less mobile quarterback. Will we see a slew of holding calls as Lance escapes the pocket and the linemen are forced to grab the defenders to keep them from laying chase to young Lance? Trey's legs and his more powerful arm may not actually assist him in executing the basics. We have seen him overuse the power in that arm and throw some darts where a little bit more touch would have been positive there. So that's me taking the no side of it. Now I'm taking the yes side of it. And this is the side I feel more passionately about. Will Trey Lance give us a better chance for success in the postseason? I say yes. This is a new excitement, not just for the fan base. Not only is Levi's going to be rocking when the Texans come into town on Sunday, but there's new excitement for the entirety of the team. There's a new energy around the organization, right? This young, talented rookie is now coming in, and it's not a situation where he's displacing Garoppolo because of Garoppolo's poor performance, as much as conspiracy theorists may want to label it as such. Jimmy was injured, right? There is no other option. We must go with Trey at this point. So you would think that there's now that excitement of, let's see what this guy can do. On top of that, teams don't have tape on Trey. You see it over and over and over again with these athletic young quarterbacks who come in on good teams. I'm not talking about the number one overall pick who starts for the Jacksonville Jaguars, a trash organization. I don't mean to say that. A less than stellar organization with a trash head coach. I will call that head coach of theirs, the one who got let go, trash, Mr. Urban Meyer. This is a case where Lance is coming on to a very talented team with a very deep roster. So teams don't have tape on him. He can actually absolutely come in and execute. If he can execute the basics, he should add more on top of that. If he can do what Jimmy did in hitting players over the middle, in establishing these catches that are intended for yards after the catch, he can add the the first plus of his legs, extending plays outside the pocket, racking up those rush yards, running over defenders, particularly those in the secondary. And he's got that second plus with the cannon of an arm. That guy can throw freaking 70 yards downfield, right? But it is that cannon he has to keep under control because on the short passes, it has actually been a detriment. But it adds something that we don't currently have in the offense. So if you can add those two elements, I can't see why we wouldn't be a more intimidating offense to prepare for. Shanahan should have a more robust game plan after the first failed experiment. That's how scientific experiments work. You try something, and if you fail, you try something new. Well, we ran the quarterback power up into the middle of that defense over and over and over again. And guess what? That didn't work, and it got Trey Lance hurt. So I am hoping Coach Shanahan learned from that, and we will see a far more, an offense that closely mirrors what you see with Jimmy and then some, right? All of the basics that you were already seeing and more. That's what I want to see with Trey Lance. And you would have to think that now that there's been some time, now that Trey has continued to develop on the bench, that it would set up for that. His legs and his arm allow for more to be implemented. You can put some shot plays in there that you're not getting with Jimmy. You can have the designed rollouts, cut the field in half for the young gentleman. Play action rollout, cut the field in half, let him chuck it down the field. I'm telling you, these shot plays will help offset any rookie errors that he might make. So I lean absolutely towards yes. I like the 49ers' chances in the postseason just a little bit more with Trey Lance under center. Call me crazy if you like. All right, into our second topic, and then I'm getting back into the comments to see what you all are talking about. Next one was from DJ on Twitter. Do you think Kyle will use more boots and rollouts with Trey this time around versus the Texans? This takes me back to what I was just talking about with the failed experiment, that Kyle Shanahan should have learned from that against Arizona. We saw an unsuccessful game plan. We saw something that did not highlight Trey Lance's strengths and did make him look vulnerable, did make him look, somewhat fragile running into the heart of that defense. He's not much bigger than those players as he was in North Dakota State, where he was bowling over those defensive linemen. This is the NFL. It's a much more even matchup, right? He's still a big guy, still going to be able to run over the linebackers, smaller linebackers in the league, and the defensive backs. But running him up the gut, that just didn't seem like the correct game plan. To me, he should mirror what Trey had success with at North Dakota State. And that was a rookie who had the most snaps under center in play action of any of those top draft picks. He had the fewest number of passes thrown of all those first-round quarterbacks taken, but the most snaps under center in play action of any of those. So yes, is that something that he can execute in this offense? Is that a staple of Kyle Shanahan's offense? Yes, it is. And yes, it is for Trey. It should be a compliment. It should work perfectly. Simpatico between Kyle Shanahan and Trey Lance in this one. You've just got to walk back the shift to shotgun that was made for Jimmy. You know that happened right about the time of the Indianapolis Colts game. Right after that, you saw significantly more shotgun snaps for Jimmy. He didn't have to turn his back to the defense. He was much more comfortable out of the gun. It allowed for him to become a much more accurate passer with that change. Now you want to get back under center more frequently, because you need Trey Lance to learn to operate from the pocket first and foremost. We cannot have a repeat of the Arizona game where it appears the plan is to run the ball with the quarterback all game long. No, that's not how you win with a quarterback in the National Football League. Maybe one game. Not a stretch of games, not a deep run in the playoffs. If you're going to make a deep run in the playoffs, if you're going to try and compete for a Super Bowl, you need to be able to operate under center. You need to be able to pass from the pocket first and foremost. This game plan, to me, is going to show us just how much Kyle Shanahan trusts Trey Lance at this point in time. Has that trust grown since the Arizona game, where it was clear that Coach Shanahan did not trust Trey to execute on the same level as Jimmy G? He certainly did not. All right. Excuse me, let's get back into your comments to see your thoughts here in this live mailbag. Looking for those at Rob Schuh comments, because those are the easiest to find. Jared Carlin, I'm with you here. Boom. Heaven just got way cooler. Going back to the John Madden passing. Yes, indeed. That man could call one hell of a game. I'm guessing he is calling one right now. There's a lot of old NFL greats wherever that last offseason is located. And John Madden is now there with him. Sean 9519ers, sneakerhead here on Rob Schuh's channel. Trey Lance, first home start against a bad trap game with a crucial game needed with season on the line. Man, I hope Trey balls out or the faithful will go nuts about the future. Here's what I have to say about that one, Sean. I agree that I think 49ers fans, because of what we have seen at the quarterback position and the inconsistency that we have experienced over several seasons, not just this season with Jimmy Garoppolo, but over several seasons, I think that there is going to be a lack of patience with Trey Lance. And I say this to Niner faithful, please be patient. Do not do to Trey Lance what you did to Jimmy Garoppolo, which was nitpick him each time he had a mistake. Was it warranted? Yeah, at times. Not all the time, though. It became a little bit old in my book, the way in which we talk trash about Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm not a fan of that. Anyone who's a Niner is on my team. This guy's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. Let's just put that out there to start. The expectation is that Trey will make mistakes. And we should be patient. We should be supportive. We should believe he can turn this around. Kyler Murray is in the chat here. As long as he's asking good questions, I'm not going to ask him to leave. Kyler Murray says, at Rob Schuh, how good do you think they will do in the playoffs? I will be excited by simply making the playoffs, in particular if we are the 6th seed or better. I think that the 6th seed is about as good as we're most likely going to get with the way in which the playoffs have played out. The seeding has played out to this point. I'll be disappointed if we go in as a 7th seed and lose one and done, because the 7th seed this year is really like a gimme. You know, it didn't even exist last year, right? So you're really just this year's freebie that gets tossed into the playoffs. So that doesn't have as good of a feeling as if you earn that 6th seed and you would have been in regardless of this additional change of adding one more team to the playoffs. And if they're competitive in that situation, make the 6th seed, competitive game, one and done, I'm still pretty happy with that. I've got to be honest. Now, I'm much more thrilled if the Niners win even a single playoff game. But that's about where I put their chances. We got a rookie coming in. We don't know how he's going to look. But, man, we're going to get a taste of Trey Lance. That's what I want to see. A competitive couple of football games. We're going to be patient with him. And we shall see. Because it could set up to be a storybook ending. Nobody has tape on this guy. Maybe this supporting cast is better than anybody can understand at this point, and we make a run. That could be the way in which this era starts, and wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that just be a storybook end to this season? After all of the things we have been through and watched this year, suffered through, that would be amazing. Ellis 10, another one of our sneakerheads here on the channel. Your thoughts on the increased O-line holding calls against the 49ers when Trey is behind center? Worried? I am a little bit, because this is a trend that I think should continue. The line will be a bit more prepared, having played a full game, now 6 quarters, with Trey Lance behind center. But it is significantly different to have a mobile quarterback than one like James Garoppolo, who certainly is not listed as a mobile quarterback, a pocket quarterback, who quite frankly isn't even all that mobile within the pocket, right? He moves around a little bit, but much more statuesque. As soon as you get that movement, the reason you get so many penalties is that they're not used to one another. Right? They aren't sure that when a defender does this and comes through this particular gap and forces Trey out of his comfort zone, what's his default, right? What is his default move? The more frequently they're playing together, the more it will just become second nature to all these offensive linemen. So you have to be patient with them as well. Will we see an uptick in holding penalties? Most likely. I think that is what should be expected. But hopefully, again, we add enough splash plays, enough chunk plays with Trey Lance coming in, taking some shots down the field, using his legs to extend plays, that we can overcome some of those mistakes. One of the issues that we had with Jimmy Garoppolo was anytime we fell behind, whether it be a holding penalty, a false start, even just losing 5 yards, oftentimes getting 5 yards behind and down in distance meant that we couldn't overcome being behind in that way, that was the end of the drive. As soon as it was 1st and 15, forget about it. Probably not going to make it. Now I think we have a chance to overcome those because we're going to have more explosion. I don't think there's any doubt about that in my book. Brian King coming in at Rob Schuh. Do you think Kyle has a solid game plan for Trey this time around? It cannot be much worse than the last time, Brian. It was brutal to watch against Arizona. Let's go back and look at that. 16 carries for Trey Lance in that game against Arizona. We held them to 17 points. Held them to 17 points. We outgained them in that one. We outgained them in yards. We just couldn't put it in the end zone. So as long as Kyle learned from that and doesn't repeat the same mistake hoping for a different result, yes, I have confidence that our offensive guru, Kyle Shanahan, can Draw up a better game plan for Trey Lance. Peter Lee, at Rob, our offensive line needs to learn this week moving forward on how to pass block for Trey Lance since he moves around in the pocket and scrambles at times. O-line needs to stop committing holding. Cheers to that, Peter. Just talking about it, the O-line needs to adjust. They have now had time with Trey. Hopefully practices all week get them ready for that, and we shall see if they have adjusted. Lapacalolo, another sneakerhead here on the channel. Yes, I hope Kyle does not use the same run the quarterback strategy against Arizona. I would be shocked if he does. So would I. It worked pretty poorly. Pretty poorly. You wouldn't think they'd repeat it. Tommy Huxley. Rob, I really don't want to play the Lambs 3 times. I got to say, in the first round, I'd be okay with the Rams or the Cardinals because of the fact that we're so familiar with them. But we have a new element in Trey Lance, and they don't. But I agree. Tough to beat any team 3 times. Tough to beat them twice in a season. We haven't even done that yet. It will be interesting. Bryant Culp, at Rob, what's good? Man, the Niners are good. You are definitely right. The fan base is very hard on Niners QB. I get the frustration from them. I really do. You know, we have had inconsistent play. We have had frustrating passes. Jimmy Garoppolo was consistently inconsistent. I still appreciate everything he did for this franchise, for lifting us out of 2017 and that abyss, for that magical 2019 season. But yes, the reaction to that inconsistency was the 49er faithful getting very, very upset. Got to celebrate Steve Avila coming in as the newest member of the Sneakerhead crew. The Sneakerhead army has grown by 1 with the addition of Steve. Welcome, Steve. Mav coming in, at Rob. The fact that we could have clinched a spot by now, but lack of execution and poor decisions have forced a win in this spot. Remember that if Trey struggles, don't pile on him. If we lose, he's our guy. I'm with you there, that even if we lose in this one, you can't get too down on Trey Lance. You cannot expect a rookie to be our savior. You can hope. I am hopeful that Trey Lance is our savior, that he will take us to the next level, that we will have a playoff run, but I do not expect it. I expect him to have some struggles. I expect him to have some flashes, some amazing things that our previous quarterback would have been unable to do because this is a new skill set that Trey has. I expect Kyle to have learned from that awful game plan against Arizona. But yes, you cannot pile on him if he's unable to deliver in that spot. William Bennett, another sneakerhead of the channel. At Rob Schuh, hey, my guy, you're right. Haven't played the whole season, so we need to pump him up. Also, play to his strength and not run him like a running back. Yes, we do need to pump him up. He hasn't played the entire season. It is just his second start, right? He's had 6 quarters of football. We need to pump him up. It's a home game. Niner faithful need to be loud and proud at Levi's Stadium and patient. Allow a couple mistakes. Do not get the boo birds out against the rookie. Please, I am begging you. I won't be there, but I hope if you are, that you're cheering your heart out. And yes, gotta hope that Coach Shanahan delivers a strong run-first identity, and it's not running Trey up the middle 16 times. David Sir, at Rob Schuh, by playing Trey, does that change who we want to face in the playoffs? I don't think that it does. I think that it stresses almost any defense. You're still looking at Green Bay and Tampa Bay, to me, as the teams that you really don't want to play. Although with Chris Godwin out, Tampa Bay is hindered. I don't think there is any doubt that that is a major player for them. But no, it doesn't change. I still want to face our own division opponents, maybe the Dallas Cowboys. Going to be an interesting one. Super Chats, William Bennett, Sneakerhead coming in. Yes, the O-line not used to a mobile quarterback. No, they are not. Hopefully they are able to adjust quickly. We have a hell of an intelligent offensive line that has gelled together significantly more than they had in that game against Arizona. Alex Mack is looking a hell of a lot better than he did. Tom Compton has really grown into that right tackle spot and far better at run blocking than pass blocking. Same for Daniel Brunskill. And then on the left side, what do you need to say about Trent Williams. Just a stud. Getting to these super chats first. I will come back to some of these other comments as well. William Bennett. It's funny, Trey almost beat the Cards with the full team, and Jimmy couldn't beat them with Colt and the backup roster. Yeah, I don't know that it's a fair comparison because the entire team played better in the first matchup than they did in the second. But I agree with your point here that this sets up for the 49ers to absolutely have some wins with Trey Lance back there. I don't think that we have to see this as handicapping the 49ers in any way. That this offense put up some yards with Trey back there. We just didn't execute. We just didn't get the ball into the end zone as we needed to. It's fair to think the 49ers can tweak some things and make that happen. He obviously added an element with his legs. I'd like to scale that back a bit. I'd like to have 30 carries for the backs, maybe 6 to 8 carries for Lance, and only half of those designed. The other half, when he feels like escaping with his legs, great. Do that. But yes, it is fair to wonder whether, Trey could have won the other one. I get the question here. I get the question, William. George Bailey 2.0. With Lance, I'm just happy to see us launch the ball downfield again to keep defenses honest. Amen to that. It will be so refreshing to see the 49ers taking shots down the field and forcing defenses out of playing 8 men in the box. Between the 40s, if we have second or third and short and we do not see a play action pass deep downfield, I will be highly disappointed. To me, that is a home run shot with Trey. Under center, play action, roll out to the wide side of the field, cut the reads in half, take a deep shot. Brandon Ayuk. Let's see it. I think it's a recipe for success. I think the 49ers would be foolish not to try it. I'm fired up to see it. Ninerbot, there's no reason why the Niners lose against the Texans. If Trey loses this game, we should be apologizing and begging Jimmy back. It's not a matter of begging Jimmy back. The man is hurt. The man is out because of that injury to the thumb, and I just don't think it is going to be a possibility to bring him back. We haven't gotten the updated injury news, and I think that's because Shanahan likes to play games with the injuries. That's the only thing where he's significantly less than truthful in my book. I think he's very transparent about everything else. But when it comes to injuries, and he'll be transparent about it, he will tell you straight up, I think it's a competitive advantage, and therefore I'm not going to tell you whether or not somebody's going to play, because you have to then prepare for two different styles of players. But I think with what we're hearing about the injury, that it's my understanding Jimmy will be done for the year based on that injury. I could be wrong. They could be over-reporting the injury. He could be a miracle healer like Russell Wilson was. He may come back in for the Week 18 matchup. He may be back for the playoffs. That's not what I'm anticipating, given the injury. Just doesn't seem likely. Jason coming in at Rob. Hope these guys are working on catching those rockets from Trey. There were tons of drops when he played before, and his nerves will be high once again. You hope after his first start, the nerves have calmed ever so slightly. You would think he's been working on those touch passes and had more opportunities in practice to actually play catch with those wide receivers, so they are used to his fastball. But I agree, he's got to take something off of that ball because it really is just too much a lot of the time. Sean951, fellow sneakerhead, being a home game, if Trey can have a few explosives and get Levi's rolling, I am curious to see the defense's reaction, and the team's support of Trey as his play will be the determining factor. I think it has the possibility to the rising tide lifts all boats. That's the saying, and it's true for a reason. Momentum is very real in sports, and as the momentum swings with with these shot plays, with his ability to push the ball, yes, I could see the defense getting very fired up by that, playing their arses off for him, if you will. Jared Carlin pointing out Trey almost beat Arizona running like Eddie George. Yes, he did. It was actually pretty close in that one. That brings me back into a previously submitted question here by Ev Days, one of my favorites. If you don't know who Ev Days is on Twitter, you need to ask somebody because that man has the strongest GIF game in all of 49ers Twitter. Ev asks, what happens if Kyle runs him up the middle again and Trey gets hurt? I'll be honest, I don't really even want to think about this one, but it's a very fair question. It makes me nervous. And that's PTSD as a San Francisco 49ers fan. I think that is unique to our franchise and perhaps one or two other franchises that have had the bad luck of injuries that the 49ers have had. It really is shell-shocking. You cannot be overly concerned about that, right? Winning is everything, especially after we enter the playoffs. The priority is winning, and you have to recognize that if Trey were to go down, we would be down to Nate frickin' Sudfeld at that point as our starting quarterback. So yes, it would be dire. I think you do need to realize that and therefore not dial up 16 quarterback runs in this one as you did in the game against Arizona. So it cannot be top of mind. This is football. Players get hurt. You have to accept that. Trey Lance is a grown-ass man. He is going to run through some defenders, but you can game plan around this. You can be smart with how you use him in your intention. The game could shake out anyway, but I think that Kyle Shanahan has a big hand in this, in making sure that Trey is set up for success and making sure that he has the opportunity to get some early success in this one, throw some quick passes that he's comfortable with, get him in a rhythm, get him getting the ball out on time quickly to the intended receivers. Just get him comfortable. Get him comfortable and then allow him to use his legs some. But don't force too much on him right away and don't run him up the gut like a damn fullback. That would be a recipe for disaster, if you ask me. All right, getting back into your comments because I just love interacting. Luke Luna, another sneakerhead in the house. At Rob Schuh, I think Kyle has more faith in Lance now with the scout team reps. I think we lean on this healthy run game and give Trey options. We weren't in that position the first game with Trey. Yes, the run game has been going much more smoothly since that time. Some of those complementary weapons have sprung up around the quarterback position, and the 49ers offense as a whole over that stretch of games since Arizona has looked considerably better. Joseph Manna, yet another member of the Sneakerhead community, Sneakerhead Army. At Rob Schuh, we will see more carries from Trey Sermon with Trey at the helm. Will we see more carries from Trey Sermon with Trey at the helm? Wasn't that part of the reason they drafted him? Yes, and I think we're still talking about Trey Sermon needing to get fully healthy first. I expect to see a lot more of that next year. There's a whole weird set of drama with Trey Sermon. I don't know that I buy into it with him removing the 49ers from his social media, but man, he did face some ire from 49ers fans. You wonder if he got upset with that and maybe someone said something to him, much like a Niner member of the Niner faithful did to Raheem Mostert and his wife. I just got to challenge members of the faithful to be kind to the players on our team, man. Let up on them. This world is hard enough. We don't need to pile on each other. Show some love. Speaking of love, here we go. William Bennett. Let's give Jimmy some love. This is last couple games with the faithful. Nothing but respect for Jimmy Garoppolo from me. Nothing but respect in what he was able to do in helping this franchise get back into relevance. I saw some people talking trash about that on Twitter. I couldn't disagree more vehemently. Fossey coming in. Thoughts on where Jimmy may land next year and final score prediction for the 49ers-Texans game. I haven't gone into predictions yet. I do have a Texans guest coming on the program Thursday morning. Very excited about that. Thursday morning at 9 a.m., we will have opposing counsel in the house. I will give my score that morning. You can count on it. But thoughts with Jimmy? My top pick is Pittsburgh. Ben Roethlisberger has basically said Point blank, he is done. Pittsburgh needs to move on. They have a quick passing game. Jimmy has a quick release. I just think it could be a fit. His linebacker mindset could really fit there. We've got a super sticker being dropped by Shailendra. Thank you very much for putting that here in the chat. Much appreciated for showing the love. Always love it. Silverado Kev is in the house. Silverado Kev, a frequent guest on the program, will be back in the near future. I can count on that. Once Trey Lance takes over, make sure you have the same energy, excuses, and patience for Trey as y'all did Jimmy. Just saying. Hey, I say more patience for Trey. I wasn't tolerant of the impatience for Jimmy. I'm not going to be tolerant of it for Trey either. These are our players. These are our heroes. These are our saviors. These are our quarterbacks, damn it. Show some patience. Show some love, faithful, especially in that first home game there. Peter Lee, with Trey likely going to take some deep shots down the field, will we hopefully have some defensive pass interference called in our favor instead of being the victims of these penalties for our defense? One can only hope, Peter. One can only hope that that is the case. Jordan Rice wants to know, what camera am I using, my guy? Picture is crispy clear. Praying the faithful are patient with Trey, taking his lumps and doing his thing. Go Niners. Preaching that patience. I use the Sony A7C camera. I freaking love it. Hit me up offline in the comments of the video if you want any more details. I am always happy to give it out. Look at this. We got the 209. I spent a bunch of time in the 209. Stockton at Rob. Came in late. Not sure if you have touched on this yet. Do you think the 49ers can frustrate Brady like the Saints did a few weeks ago if we get that matchup? I do. I think that would be our saving grace. The only way to get after Brady is to hit the man. Hit him hard, and make sure that you fluster him. He can get extremely frustrated with his players and start barking at them and becomes less of a quality leader in those instances, if you ask me. Sean951, our pass offense is a timing machine, which allows Kittle and Ayuk and Debo to get yak. I am really curious how Trey looks in that offense, or if routes change to accommodate Trey. I would anticipate it will be a lot of the same, plus more of what fits in Trey's strengths. All right, Kyler Murray is back in. Kyler Murray's very curious about Trey Lance. He's thinking he's probably going to come up against him in the playoffs. You think Trey Lance will have a play style like Kyler and Lamar or Allen and Mahomes? I think he's going to be a little bit of his own in that regard. I don't think he's got the quick twitch of Kyler. He's not going to scurry about in the same way to extend those plays. He doesn't have the speed of Lamar. Probably most closely physically resembles Josh Allen size-wise. Mahomes is just a unique throwing talent that I haven't seen yet in Lance. So if any of those, I would have to say Josh Allen. But I'm guessing he'll be a little bit of his own. David, sir, love your show, Rob. Appreciate the passion, the knowledge, and how you get to every comment. People leave. Go Niners. Hey, I love it. We got a super chat. William Bennett. Trent is used to a mobile quarterback. Maybe he can help. Hey, that would be great if Trent Williams, with his history of mobile quarterbacks, could help the rest of the offensive line that learn what to do with a mobile quarterback. That would be fantastic. They need to pick it up quickly because we don't have any games that we can allow to slip. We are in a must-win scenario. Again, if you're leaving the comments at me with questions, hit the @Rob Schuh. Here we go. William Bennett, @Rob Schuh. One last thing. Super chat Rob Schuh. He a faithful and this a quality show. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that, William. I most definitely am a member of the faithful and do appreciate the support that everyone has shown to the channel. Very excited to say that today was the day that the channel hit 3,000 subscribers. So if you enjoy the content, I always welcome you to like the video. It definitely helps. It definitely increases the signal, allows more people to find the channel in the first place, and then subscribe. If you like the content, subscribe to the channel. You are more than welcome to become a member of the Sneakerhead Army and support the channel even further. Always appreciate everybody, whether you're just watching and you don't like or you dislike the video. Even then, leave your comments. I always try to get to them. I just love the interaction. I just dig it. House of Jello at Rob Schuh. I wouldn't mind if he did bad. It's kind of messed up that this game is his second start and it is kind of an important game. So I don't think House of Jello is rooting for Trey to do bad. But what you're saying there is you're going to be patient with him even if he does. And if that's your message, I support it. I would never root for him to do poorly. But if he does, I will still back him up 1,000%. Ellis 10. If Trey Lance completes a pass over 35 yards outside the numbers, do you believe this exceeding Jimmy G's ability? No, Jimmy G can hit that pass, just not on a consistent basis. He's just inconsistent there. Sean Bailey at Rob, Cap 2.0 vibes with this guy. I mean, there are similarities in that it's going from a pocket passer to someone who is a mobile quarterback, but I think that Trey Lance is much more of a pocket passer, has much more of the skill sets of a pocket passer than Kaepernick did, and a different run set, much more power, not the long strides of Kaepernick. I mean, when he was moving, forget about it. I was there for that Green Bay playoff game where he ran for what, $190 in the playoffs? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm here with Lapacalolo on this. I just hope the whole team steps up to help the rookie and not leave the whole game on his shoulders. It's all about the supporting cast in this one. It is all about everyone around him having success as well, and that propelling Trey into a position to win. It is all about the rest of the team. The rest of the team has to carry this guy. He's a rookie. Once he's fighting, yes, at Rob Schuh, run the damn ball. Thank you. You need to be yelling that at Kyle Shanahan. I'm kidding. Don't yell that at him. The poor guy gets flustered, No, he is excited. He is going to establish the run. Kyle is going to lean on our run-first identity. Fingers crossed. Steve Avio, our newest sneakerhead. I genuinely feel bad for our boy Jimmy G. Man, he did his absolute best with his talent. I mean, with all the injuries he sustained while a 49er, who knows how much that affected his playing style. Salute. Hey, I appreciate that, Steve. Nothing but respect for you and for Jimmy as he potentially walks out of the building. I don't get people that want to throw animosity at him on his way out. That doesn't seem respectful to me at all. Brian King at Rob Schuh. I think Trey stepping in now raises the level of play for the organization and a confidence booster for Trey. I love it. I think Trey needs all the confidence he can get. I think if we can win a couple and get into the playoffs, hello, watch out. Sean951, I hope Kyle looks back at Cap versus Green Bay in the playoffs. Play action and read option for Trey to read and pass or run, baby, run. And slide on to the next play. Make sure you get down, young rook. Do not take unnecessary shots. Please make sure to keep yourself healthy. I do not want to see, no offense, I do not want to see Nate Sudfeld out there. Chris coming in, sneakerhead. With Mitchell back and Lance running the offense, I think we see a huge amount of rushing yards between Mitchell, Lance, and Debo. I want the primary yards to be coming from Mitchell and Debo with a complement of Lance. I really want to see Lance's arm in this one. I really want to see his arm highlighted in this one, and I hope that is the case. Andre, another member of the Sneakerhead Army. I hope Juice will see an aura around Lance come game day breakfast. Yes, remember, Juice talking about the aura he saw around Jimmy G, who was so focused before the last victory. Let's hope he sees that same glow from the young rookie. We have some super chats to get in here. We will get back to your comments as well, but got to prioritize. Hope you understand that. Thomas B coming in. Which opponent would you prefer in the playoffs? My choices would be Arizona first, LA Rams second, Dallas Cowboys third. Those would be my top three opponents in that order. Arizona, because I think that their world is crumbling around them. DeAndre Hopkins will be coming back at some point, but if you can catch them before he comes back, they are not the same offense. Their confidence is battered at this point. I don't have faith in their head coach. I think that their signal caller, that their quarterback is extremely physically gifted and needs to grow up a bit in the leadership department. I see a little too much Aaron Rodgers in his body language, and to me, that's not a positive thing. Aaron Rodgers may be the greatest arm talent in the NFL. He's one of the worst leaders in the NFL when you're talking about elite quarterbacks. He should have multiple rings. I think he doesn't because of that lack of leadership. Just my opinion. George U coming in. Prediction. 49ers 31, Texans 9. Here you go, George. Number 5 throws a couple of bombs. 19 yanks chains for his 40s between running backs. Trey and Debo. Who do you try to stop? Man, that sounds like a recipe for success. That sounds like something that the frickin' 49ers could ride into the playoffs and evoke fear. Evoke fear from the frickin' people we come up against. Man, that's going to be good. That is going to be good. Hank Moody is very passionate. If Shanahan does what he did to Trey against the Cardinals, I am calling for this man to be fired. Hank, I don't think I would fault you for being upset. I wouldn't call for him to be fired, but I would be very irritated if we see a similar game plan. Travis George, 35 rushes from Debo and the running backs and 25 passing attempts, and we win. I love that. I want the vast majority of those rushes to come from running back. Keep Debo fairly well rested and don't put the rookie in harm's way too often. Let's see. Black Caesar coming in to drop some coin. Thank you very much. If you had a comment you wanted read in with that, please let me know. Ooh, Brian says his comparison is more like Andrew Luck. That running style, that makes sense. If you look specifically at running style, not talking about the accuracy and the understanding of the game, Andrew Luck clearly came in as a very polished passer. But running style, that's an interesting comparison. Shane, AZ, 49ers Empire. At Rob Schuh, first time here, Rob, and I am loving what I'm hearing. And I can't agree more on having patience with Trey. Also, what's the word on Mitch? If he can't play, who will punt? This is a great call out. Mitch Wishnowsky is in the COVID protocols and might miss the game. We were working out punters today. I do not know who that's going to be. It didn't seem like great choices for the 49ers. I know people, make fun of kickers and punters, but this one could be big. You could see the 49ers going for it on more fourth downs because of it. William Bennett coming in with the super chat. Rob, I think it would be good for you to have more shows in the stands before the game when you go. I love it. I will definitely attempt to have more shows from the stands live when I'm there. I will be in LA. If you're going to be in LA, if you're going to that game, 49ers at the Rams, let me know. I want to hang out with some sneakerheads. I want to say hello to folks who are going to be there. And I will attempt to do some live streams from the stadium, counting on the fact that it's a brand new stadium and they should have good 5G coverage. That will be key. That will be key. Looking through. Here we go. Chris Coast, Rob Schuh. What do you think about running the same offense Jimmy ran just with Trey? This is what I'm talking about, Chris Coast. This is what I want. I want the same offense with a little bit more. Just a little bit extra. A few additional shots. Allow the rookie to use his legs on a couple of plays, but primarily allow him to run the same offense and try to be as efficient at it as Jimmy was, then with those additional factors he brings to the table. Potbelly's Ornaments at Rob Schuh. Not a Jimmy guy, but the faithful need to remember what it was like before Jimmy. While not just him, he played a big part in lifting this franchise out of mediocrity. Go Niners. Potbellies is right about this. Take yourself back to the misery of 2017 and don't forget what James Garoppolo did for this franchise. I wish him nothing but the best. I wish him success wherever he goes. Trash talking him on this channel will not be supported by me because he's a 49er. Always will be. Always will be the quarterback that got us this close to the frickin' end of the Super Bowl. Yeah, you can throw shade at him for not completing that pass to Emmanuel Sanders, but man, that 2019 season was special, and you can't take that away from me. I was there in New Orleans. I watched him ball out in person. You cannot erase that memory from my mind. All right, getting into some of these super chats. Again, Black Caesar, as it stands, Niners are the 6th seed, Rams the 3rd. Is it possible for the Niners to win not only next week, but beat the Rams 2 weeks in a row? It is absolutely possible, especially if we can get Trey rolling. If we can get him comfortable operating within this offense, working within the scheme, hitting the same types of shots over the middle of the field, executing over the middle, setting up the yards after the catch, much like Jimmy Garoppolo did, and add in his legs and his bigger arm, take some shots down the field. Like I said, I will be looking for 2nd and short, 3rd and short, in between the 40s. If we do not take shots when we get into that situation, man, we're missing the boat. We are missing out on a chance to get some chunk plays, to overcome what I'm sure will be a couple of rookie mistakes that happen. Brian coming in. We could have to play Rams back-to-back weeks. That absolutely is a possibility, and very tough to beat a team 3 times in the same season, let alone 3 times, 2 of those coming back-to-back. That would be horrific, and yet you play the team they put in front of you, don't you? You just got to play the team that they put in front of you, and if it's the Rams, then through LA we go. I will fly my butt right back down to LA, and I will be at that stadium again, regardless of the fact that these damn tickets are ridiculously expensive. Who else is floored by the price of that Week 17 game? Anybody else looking at StubHub or NFL Ticket Exchange having to swallow hard on that one? Looking at freaking nosebleeds that are ridiculously pricey, hey, that's the price you pay when it is a key victory for either team. A highly relevant game. Touchdown San Francisco with the super chat. Rob, let's talk about the special teams and their struggles. We cannot afford to have the special teams cough up any turnovers in these games. We need the rest of the team to step up in support of the rookie. He's going to make his own mistakes. Do not shoot yourselves in the foot, 49ers. I'm looking at you, Richard Hightower. I am looking at you, special teams. I know that Richard Hightower has been put in a poor position, that many players who are stalwarts on his squad have had to fill in at other positions. Marcel Harris is going to have to play linebacker yet again. That means he will not play special teams. That means he comes off the special teams unit and a backup has to go in to cover for him. And that's been the case all year long. But no excuses. Play like a champion. Rule number 76. George Yu. It would be very dumb for LA to play starters week 18. Hey, that would be good if we get a sort of gimme, although you can't take it that way. Watch what happened against Arizona when we thought that that was in the bag. Turned out not to be the case. Looking at Sean 951 Niners at Rob Schuh. I didn't like the Arizona game plan, but we lost 17-10 and passed up 3 field goals. And Lance getting stopped at the 1-yard line. As bad as it was, seeing the running, we should have won. Kyle's game plan worked. It came close to working. It generated the yards it needed to generate, but I do hope we don't see that same game plan again. It did get Trey hurt. You can't argue that. And if that happened now, we would be down to Nate Sudfeld, and that could be a real problem. Special psych at Rob. What are the playoff chances if we lose to LA on the last game? It may not matter. If we win against Houston and the Saints lose to the Panthers, then we're in. It's a lock at that point. If the Saints win, then we get into those final week scenarios. But if the Saints lose this weekend and we win, boom, it is over. Viet Nguyen saying, I'm paying $200 for some nosebleeds. I'm telling you, cheers to having to go to that game and pay some overpriced prices for nosebleed tickets. It is what it is, right? You want to go, you pay the price of admission. I was trying to look at 100 level seats. Woo, forget about it. Freaking forget about it. It is looking tough to get in the door. Uh-oh. Here we go. Here we go. The Rams are talking trash. The Ramelia Sports Report. First place Rams versus third place Niners with a rook quarterback. Ouch. Well, we shall see just how that rook looks this weekend against Houston before we have to come up against LA. All right. I am going to get into some of those previously submitted questions and come back into the comments. If I missed any of your chat from earlier on, feel free to copy and paste it. Please don't do it multiple times because then I get lost. But if I missed something from earlier that we're current now, I didn't get to, throw it back in there. You know I'm going to hit it. All right, a couple of these questions were not Lance related. It's crazy, I know, but people wanted to know about our wide receivers. Specifically, Al Pa. This was hilarious. Al came in and said, listen, I asked this of Jack Hammer, and he hadn't gotten me an answer yet. Jack put out his mailbag earlier today, and the answer to this was in there, but Al didn't get it quick enough, so he asked me too. So now Al gets two answers. One from Jack Hammer of the Santa Rosa Press Democrat. You should follow him on YouTube, and you should support that site on the Press Democrat. Jack is good people. This question says, who's responsible for Juwan Jennings inexplicably getting more targets and touches the past few games than Brandon Ayuk? Kyle or Jimmy? You know, this one's hard to know without getting in the quarterback room and hearing the game plan, but I have to assume that it's on both and that it's somewhat matchup dependent. This comes back to the Steve Young interview. I will reference that a lot because I thought that was great insight into Steve's view of Kyle Shanahan as a coach and his decisions around Trey Lance. So this is in reference to him as a coach and him being similar to his father in smelling blood in the water. That when Kyle Shanahan smells blood in the water, he goes after it to a fault. And that's the case here in forcing balls to Juwan Jennings instead of getting them to Brandon Ayuk. That he thinks the better matchup in the game, the better way to attack the defense is with Juwan Jennings. Well, Juwan Jennings is suffering, much like Kendrick Bourne did early in his career, with a case of some minor drops, right? And unfortunately, those reared their head in this past game. Had he held on to one of those, it may have made the difference. This was a close one. A couple of those balls probably should have gone to Ayuk, but Kyle smelled blood in the water and went after it to a fault. He did that with Jimmy as well. When the game plan set out to attack the defense with 40 throws because Jimmy's going to attack him over the middle, even though it may have been the weakness for the defense, I get nervous with that plan of attack because you're relying upon Jimmy to be consistent for a period of time, and we know that that's just not within his wheelhouse. He is consistently inconsistent, and therefore it always set up poorly for me that, yes, that was the weakness for the defense, and I was nervous about the way in which we were going to attack them. So the same is true here. I think you have to put some of that blame on Kyle Shanahan for the game plan, and then part of it has to be Jimmy in looking that way and throwing to Juwan Jennings. But in that case, he was at least reasonably open on those, and a couple of those were just the drops. Another wide receiver question. This one coming in from Ben Meyerson, another individual that if you don't follow, you should. Ben Meyerson has great content on Twitter and on his YouTube channel. Ben asks, is now the right time to re-sign Deebo Samuel this upcoming off-season? Ben asks. I am going to Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde this one. I'm going to play both sides of it, Ben. Yes, pay the man the money that he has earned to this point. Yes, pay Deebo right now. He fits the mold of exactly what you're looking for. Therefore, reward him and send a positive message to the locker room. He should earn that generational wealth for his family, for his newborn child that he just brought into this world. He deserves that money. He is having an MVP caliber season. He is performing. He has fought through injury this year. He has been resilient. He has been amazing this season. Yes, he deserves it. All right, flip the script. Now I'm going Mr. Hyde on this one. The other side of this, no, you shouldn't pay Deebo Samuel. Now, I'm prefacing this by saying this is not my actual opinion. This is just me making the counter argument. So if you tune in while I'm giving this argument, you're going to be upset because you're going to think I'm saying don't pay Deebo. Hold tight because I'll come back and give you my opinion right afterwards. So no, don't pay Debo this offseason. Why? You don't have to. You've got him under contract for one more additional year. With his physical play style, what are the odds that he actually makes it healthy through the entirety of next season with the same results that he had this year? What if this is just a one-year apparition? What if this isn't reality? Plus, there'll be more cap space in 2023, so just let him try to ball out one more year. If he does, yes, we'll have to pay him more, but we'll be fine. We got plenty of cap space in 2023 when it just skyrockets. All right, that was the Mr. Hyde. That is not my opinion. My opinion is the first one I gave. You pay that man his money. That's my opinion. Taking that straight out of Rounders for those of you that don't get the weird accent I used in that quote. Yes, you absolutely pay him. And let me tell you why. You pay him now because you want to lock in every expensive contract that you can before the salary cap skyrockets. I've been saying this for a long time, but you are going to see some historically bad deals get made during that next offseason of 2023. The cap goes up substantially. Think NBA in 2016. Go back and look at some of the role players who got paid in that 2016 offseason. I'm talking tens of millions of dollars a year for terrible basketball players. Some of the worst contracts you have ever seen. That's what's about to happen. Everyone will have money to spend. That's in a free market system when everybody's got capital. Think of what's happening right now in this country. Everybody's got money in their pockets. The price on everything is going up. That's what's going to happen to free agents in 2023. So lock in your expensive players this year and backload those deals to take advantage of that cap skyrocketing. Plus, you want to reward players that are emblematic of who you want to be as an organization. That was the DeForest Buckner mistake that the 49ers made. In letting DeForest Buckner walk, you let a player that was of paramount importance at a position you said was the most important along your defense, and he epitomized everything you wanted from a player off the field, and you let him, you sent him packing. You didn't let him walk. You sent him packing. That was a horrible mistake. Do not repeat it. Learn from that mistake, 49ers. Learn, John Lynch. I'm telling you, Debo is so special when he's healthy and on the field making plays that I don't care about those few games he's going to miss each year. Just like George Kittle. Both of them run through people. You're going to get hurt doing that sometimes. It's a physical playing style. It's a physical league. Pay the man now. That would be my take. All right, getting back into the comments to see what is going on. Chris Coast agrees. I think we pay Debo now before wide receiver market gets too high. I love that call. I think that the 49ers should pursue paying Debo now. Sorry, I'm getting back in the comments to make sure that I am back up where folks left off so I didn't miss anything. But yes, you definitely want to try and pay him now if you're asking me. All right, I have found where I left off. People, Zombieland pissed that he's late. That's okay, Zombieland. You're still here, and that's all that matters. We've got concerns about our secondary. I don't blame people for that concern. I do not blame them for being a little bit concerned about how our secondary matches up. I don't think that's really the case against Houston, except for that speedy young gentleman who has played on 3 or 4 different teams so far this year, Brandon Cooks. That will be the interesting matchup if you ask me this weekend. Okay, special psych. What are the playoff chances if we lose to LA on that last game? It just matters what happens in between now and then. That's what matters. What happens in between now and then. Looking for the @Rob Schuh for those comments coming in at me. People getting excited about those ticket prices. Once he fighting. @Rob Schuh. Replay the vid against Arizona when Trey shoe fell off and he had one defender on his leg. You see that face he made? That's the look of a winner. Trey area. I'm telling you, That young gentleman is going to do special things, and we just got to be patient, even if it's not right away. Travis George talking to @Rod, but I'm assuming he means me. When do E-Money come back? We need him to start. The rookie sit Josh Norman. I don't know when E-Man comes back, but I think it's not until the playoffs. If I understand it correctly, it was a high ankle sprain. I think it's most likely that he's back for round 1 of the playoffs. I would agree. Unless, barring some setback for Ambry Thomas, I'm starting Emmanuel Mosley on one side and Ambry Thomas on the other. That would be my preference as well. People talking about conspiracy theories. Don't get too angry at one another in the chat there. Here we go. Oh, Rob, don't spread false information. Trey stopped at goal line where he was hurt and camera went to his mom was not a called run. If you don't know that, turn in your colors. I don't think I called that out as a called run. I don't think I referenced that play specifically. Someone else did in their comment, but we didn't run through it. But I appreciate you calling that out, Steve-O Supremo. Yes, there were 9 designed runs of the 16. So that left 7 where he chose to take off with the ball. I did not label them one by one, but I appreciate you clarifying that one. Guillermo coming in @Rob. This is going to be my first game at Levi's. What should I know? Any tips? Thanks in advance. Yes, Guillermo, make sure that you get into the stadium early. I'm telling you, the tailgating around Levi's sucks anyways. There are all sorts of remote locations for parking, but if you get something around the stadium, that's decent, right? But get in early. There is good food in there. It's wildly overpriced. The waters are a reasonable amount because of the fact that we have so much terrible sunshine there on the eastern side of the stands. But it's a good stadium. You know, it's new. It's just bland. If you want, you can go find my brick, which is in one of the entrances. As you get in, I have my own brick with mine and my wife's name on it. You can visit that and pay homage to the brick. That's what I would do. That's my pregame ritual. But the only thing I will say is enjoy yourself, make a hell of a lot of noise, be patient with the rookie, don't allow anybody to get down on him, and get in there early so that the Niners can get up quickly. All right, Gabriel wants to know, Rob, should we trade Kittle for a first? No, I go back to what I said about Debo. I do not care that he is injured a little bit. When he's on the field, he is just so damn impressive. Shoo, what it do? Welcome to the chat. Glad to have you in. AJ Silva, like I said, our newest member of the Sneakerhead Army. @Rob, what do you think the odds are that Bosa doesn't get comeback player of the year or defensive player of the year? It depends on what he does these last couple of games because he went without a sack in that most recent one. In those killer matchups. If he doesn't get a multi-sack game, I think it's possible he does miss one or both of those. Certainly, he's not getting both. I think it's probably more likely he gets comeback player of the year, but then you get Dak Prescott doing what he did over Christmas, and now he's probably back in the running. It always favors the quarterback. It just ain't fair, AJ. Jamal Parker @Rob Schuh. I hope the Jimmy effect didn't rub off on Trey Lance. Do you think Trey will make the same mistakes Jimmy made with the forced passes? Do you think Lance will be the smart QB he showed us? It's what he's capable of. If he is comfortable in the pocket, if he is not overthinking, I think he will protect the ball like he did at North Dakota State. When you see the errant throws and the turnovers, to me, that is a signal of someone who is flustered. That is a rookie where the league has not slowed down for him yet. You would hope that if he has been attacking his preparation in the way that Steve Young laid out, a person needs to attack their preparation to get better while on the bench, that he is calmer when he's out there, that he feels more empowered, better within the offense, more capable of operating within Kyle's system. And if he is comfortable and confident and the rest of the team is more comfortable and confident around him, the sky's the limit in my book. Chris Coast @Rob Schuh. I think we pay Debo now before it gets too high. I think I hit that one earlier, but it's worth saying twice, Chris. Worth saying twice. We got a good number of folks in this one. As I always say, if you enjoy the content, please do hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel. I welcome all Niner faithful and anybody who wants to watch quality content. Ayala, at Rob Schuh, lock him up. He's an integral part of the offense. Thank you. I agree. Zombieland is in. Schuh is right on per Debo. Amen. Sign Debo now. Pay that man his money. Get him paid. All right. Let's look up some more of those comments. Before I get in, there are still some previously submitted ones that I'm going to go through. Just catching up now. Ellis10. Will the 49ers get any draft picks for Jimmy or not? Yes, I believe they will. I was anticipating a second rounder. The 49ers may have to eat a portion of the salary. It gets complicated with the injury guarantee. Jimmy has to get healthy first before the 49ers can trade him. I believe he has a $7.5 million injury guarantee, so if he's not healthy by the start of next league year, he could count as $7.5 million in dead money for the 49ers. I don't think that's going to be the case. I believe he'll probably want to get back so that he can be traded, so that he can begin his career anew with somebody that wants him there as their starting quarterback. So that, to me, would set up for him to want to come back. And I still think he's worth a late second rounder, early third. That's my prediction. Alex asking, you think Nick Bosa is staying? I think he is when we give him a big-ass bag of money. I think he deserves to be paid in the same way his older brother was, and then some. I do believe the 49ers will prioritize signing him just as they will Nick Bosa. I would pay them both this offseason to take advantage of that rising cap, but take advantage of it before it actually rises, before everybody is flush with cash. Jamie coming in. Can Trey start hot and get a ring this year? Man, I hope so. Wouldn't that be the sweetest ending to this frickin' season? This whole season has been crazy, but there's still a chance. There is still a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance. George, at Rob Schuh, did you see Trey Lance in that Cash App video today on YouTube? He got over $700,000 for his charity in Minnesota. Yes, I did. That was actually the thumbnail I used for this frickin' video. Pardon my French. I get excited when talking about Trey Lance. You see me blush a little bit after dropping that F-bomb. I do apologize. That was unintentional. But yes, you see his arm on fire in that thumbnail. It is from that little promo that he did in beating out, what was it, Daniel Jones, and who was the other dude that was in that? I forget. Anyway, yes, that was great. Queen Heavy talking about, I love your voice, Rob. Well, you are welcome to stay and listen to it anytime. I enjoy chatting Niners with everybody here. All right, I see that we have a new member of the Sneakerhead Army that I need to get to. A couple of comments I'm skipping that I'm getting back to, but here we go. Vicky, the newest member of the Sneakerhead community. Vicky, welcome to the channel. Boom. Appreciate it. All right, getting back. I saw a comment I wanted to answer here from a name I didn't recognize. Always like to get folks in for the first time. Noah Woods. At Rob, we should run a read option with Trey and Debo. I would not want to have to defend that. Would you? Would you? No. No way. Jamal with a prediction. Rob, if we let Jimmy go, I believe that Kittle and Juice leave also. I think that they will get over. I know they're friends with Jimmy, but this is a business and a business first. And George Kittle is the face of the franchise after that contract. And Juice is one of the best paid fullbacks as well. So I think that money talks for those guys. I expect them to stay and be in the red and gold for many, many a season. But that does bring me back to a couple of previously submitted ones, some quick ones. Here we go. Previously submitted. Do you think the 49ers have seen Jimmy G play his last game for the red and gold? I think that we have. I do. Perhaps. I mean, you never know what can unfold. We haven't had the full injury extent, so maybe this comes out and Adam Schefter blew this out of proportion and it's something he heals quickly from. Maybe you see him in the playoffs. I can't predict the future in that way. It doesn't sound like it to me. This sounds like a season-ending injury, and I just cannot wrap my head around the 49ers wanting Jimmy back next year, and I can't imagine Jimmy wanting to come back next year. The length of the injury with that tear and the fracture leads me to believe that Jimmy won't be making an appearance this season. I don't think Coach Shanahan is going to want to waver back and forth between Trey and Jimmy. That would shake Trey's confidence. And I do think at this point, Trey's confidence is paramount because now you're talking about affecting 2022. Unless the injury guarantee comes into play, I think the cleanest thing for Jimmy at this point is to exit and to go play for an organization and a fan base that wants him at this point. And I guarantee you somebody out there wants him. He is the 15th to 20th best quarterback, somewhere in there. We could debate where he is on that range. But if you're saying he's trash, you're just not acknowledging, where he is in relation to the rest of the field of quarterbacks. So somebody is going to want him for sure. And why not go play for an organization that wants you? If I were a betting man, I'd say yes. We've seen the last of Jimmy in the red and gold, and I wish him nothing but the best. Cheers to you, Jimmy. This next one's a quick one as well. It actually tagged on Bat Dad on Twitter asking, alongside the previous one, think Jimmy would want to come back and prove something? Again, we don't know all the details at this point. Things could still unfold. If the circumstances were right, he may feel that this would give him the best shot at winning, but how did that work out for him this year? Right? There are just more questions about him. Again, why not go somewhere where he is actually wanted, where a coach and a front office appreciate him, and not just lip service as the 49ers have paid to him this year, but their actions spoke louder than their words. They flirted with every quarterback possibility out there and ended up going back to Jimmy when none of that worked out. But why wouldn't he want to get a fresh start, would be my take on it. All right, back into the comments here to see where we are at. All right, looking for those at Rob Schuh. Steven coming in at Rob Schuh. Will Lance open off our offense? Will he open up our offense? Yes, he will. In that, we will be able to push the ball down the field. I don't know how frequently we will take advantage of that big arm of his, but my hope is, again, that we do it multiple times in each game. Would love to see second short, third and short, in between the 40s, taking those shot plays. Please, I am telling you, if we don't, it's a mistake because he will have those rookie mistakes. He will. And if we're not getting those stretch plays from him, then we're not offsetting the rookie effect. And I think that would be a mistake in my book. EMA Beats agrees with me on the compensation for Jimmy. What's up, EMA? Late second and fourth at best. That was actually my prediction before the injury. If the injury lingers, I have to take that down a notch. But if he is healthy, I think that's a spot-on prediction. I had literally said that myself. That would be a fantastic turnaround. It really would work out for him and for the 49ers at that point. Juan coming in with the compliment. At Rob, sweet beard. How do you take care of it? I tell you, Juan, always got to take the beard compliments. I love it. It's all about some beard shampoo, beard conditioner, beard oil. I can't get it freaking cut. Juan, you have hit a sore topic for me. It has been 2 years since I've had a professional barber cut my freaking beard for me. 2 years. Because when you go in, you can't take the mask off, right? You can get your hair cut. I don't need my hair cut. I can do that buzz cut pretty easily myself. I need this trimmed, but I can't get it. So I have become an expert in beard trimming myself over the last 2 years. So it's all about trimming. It's all about the beard oil, most essential shampoo and conditioner. I'm sure plenty of people just tuned out while I was doing that, but it's essential information for those of you growing beards. Look at this. Skyfold, just subscribe to your channel. Go Niners. I welcome all of you, if you like the content, to like the video. If you enjoy the content, subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when I go live, or subscribe to me on Twitter. I only have like 900 Twitter followers, but I've got over 3,000 people subscribed to the channel. So if you're on Twitter, go subscribe. I promise I try to be funny there too. You just can't hear the voice. So that's probably it. That is probably it. Some people like the F-bomb. Hey, dropping the bombs. It slipped out. I didn't intend to do it. Zombieland appreciated it as well. Don Juan, no problem with that. People appreciate the fact that it just slipped out. All right, Chris Coast at Rob Schuh. I was having a debate that Brandon is a more all-around better wide receiver one, hands, routes, and health-wise also than Debo. What do you think? Even though Debo is more explosive. I think that this is actually accurate, that Debo is the more explosive, better player overall, and that as a pure route runner, I do think Brandon Ayuk has an edge over him. Now, the other skill sets for Debo outweigh that for Brandon Ayuk, but I'll tell you, I think he is the better wide receiver one. If he grows into that role, man, with those two together, let me tell you, it's going to be something special, especially if we're taking the deep shots. People loving the F-bombs. Rick Muniz coming in. Callie Young coming in. Just appreciating it. Silent Seth. Never heard Rob throw a real cuss word out. It's always damn in hell. Yeah, that one slipped. I use it in real life. I'm just cautious on the channel. That's for sure. EMA Beats at Rob Schuh. Confident in Trey I am. He's talking like Yoda now. However, do you feel about him being thrown in with such odds in our last two games? EMA, I'm with you here, and I'm talking Yoda myself. Yes, it's rough, man. This is the NFL. You're a backup quarterback, and now you're thrown in must-win games. Sure, the first one's against the Texans. That helps. But then against LA, a team that's pissed at us for having owned them for quite some time, man, it's going to test Trey. That's why we got to be patient, because you never know. Sean Hurley with the super chat. My apologies for not hitting this earlier. Didn't see it come in because I was reading the previously submitted questions. Thank you, Sean. What are the chances Kyle Shanahan runs Trey Lance to the ground again? I hope that he does not suffer from insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I hope that he learned from that game plan in Arizona. I expect Trey has mastered the offense more to this point, and his finger has healed up, the one that lingered. You heard Fred Warner, unsolicited, talk about him carving up the 49ers defense. You heard Matt Mayoko from an inside source within the organization, although that's less trustworthy than Fred Warner, say that he's been tearing it up the last 4 weeks in practice. Man, this sets up that maybe he's turned the corner and that maybe we see him execute the game plan, much like Jimmy, just with a little something extra. Epic Lil Beast subbed 10% for the voice, 10% for the beard, 80% for the A+ content. Keep it up. Much love. That is a fantastic super chat. Maybe the best one I've read all day. No offense to any of the others, but when you're in on the voice, in on the beard, and tripling down with the content, man, that's an A+ in my book. Thank you, Epic Lil Beast. Appreciate that. Again, I welcome everybody who likes the content to subscribe to the channel if that is the case. It has been a big week for the channel. Gabriel coming in. Hey, Rob, are there any players we could flip for picks? Greenlaw and or Aziz, Jennings, Ross the Boss. I don't know what you could get for Ross the Boss. He's fallen out of favor, though. His snaps have gone way down. So if you get anything, even a conditional 7th, I think you probably do at that point. Dre Greenlaw is an interesting one. With the rise of Aziz Al-Shire, we now have 3 linebackers, and you can't pay all 3. I think I'd rather have the physical element that Aziz brings, but that's hard for me to say because big play Dre. It's recency bias. I've seen Aziz more frequently recently than I have Dre, and that's what's forcing me towards Aziz. I would need to get into that one a little bit harder to really understand which players complement each other. But I think with Fred Warner and his ability in coverage, having a thumper like Aziz is more complimentary to me. It's hard to say for me to freaking, it is hard for me to say that I would trade away Dre. It's hard for me to trade any players away, but I think in that scenario, that's who I would lean on. Juwan Jennings, I think he fills a need, so I'm probably not letting him go. I think he will, much like Kendrick Bourne, get a handle on those drops. Steven Mandler at Rob Schuh, think Lance will open up our offense because he can use his legs? I sure hope so. I sure hope he can. He should be able to. It should bring an added element to it. EMA Beats. If Kyle uses Trey like Sean Payton does Taysom, is Trey being used improperly? I say yes. I would agree with that. Trey needs to operate this offense the same way that Jimmy did, just with the added elements of his arm and his legs. I see a little friendly trash talk in the comments. I am always okay with that as long as it is friendly. If it dips out of friendly, you will quickly get muted, timeout, all that. And if it gets in any way insulting in a way that I read to be detrimental to the chat, I won't hesitate to block. I'm not seeing that. I'm not saying that. I just want to give fair warning there. Luke Luna coming in at Rob Schuh. Do you think players not wanting to endure a rookie quarterback over a proven one with a better offer may come into play? We may lose someone over it, but it is what it is. It depends on what we see from Lance. He could instill a hell of a lot of confidence into this team, and there may be promise of bright things to come. It all depends on what he can do in these last couple of games. All right, I've got to catch up because there's a super chat waiting for me, but I'm going to hit Nicoya's finest first. Hey, Rob, I think it's honest to say that Kyle doesn't want to give out all the details on player updates and game planning. He always wants that edge over his opponent. Then again, every coach does it. Yes, in particular, when it comes to injuries, Kyle really does not like to give out that information. If he doesn't have to say who's starting, he doesn't. And he's very transparent in saying that it is because it's an added advantage. Scrolling through, I see Peter Lee's comment. I like it. I could be George Kittle's dad's lookalike. I didn't know that. I'll have to look up the comparison of the two. Peter, you could splash together two images for me to see how similar it is. All right, I will come back. I'm skipping comments that I like, and I apologize for it, but I always have to make the attempt to get to those super chats first and foremost. Touchdown San Francisco. Very generous here. I agree. Jimmy needs a new start. I hope he does not end up with the Seahawks. Man, that would be awful if he ended up with, if we had to cut him, right? If we came to some sort of an injury settlement and had to release him and he ended up with a competitor in the division, that would be brutal. I think you can rest assured that the 49ers will not trade him to a division rival. But if Russell Wilson is done in Seattle, if he and Pete Carroll have decided that they are on the outs and both, either one gets let go and the other requests a trade, whatever happens, you could see it working out where they're in need of a quarterback. It'll be interesting to find out where Jimmy ends up. I think he will get traded, and I think the 49ers will control where he ends up. David C. at Rob Schuh, do you agree that this could be the perfect storm for Trey and Kyle leading into the playoffs? No tape on him. I do. That's what I'm most excited about. There's a chance, people. YouTube sucks coming in at Rob. Sweet. The two teams I got trading for Garoppolo are the Giants or the Broncos. I'd be happy with either one of those. I would love to see him with Vic Fangio if Vic Fangio makes it another season with the Broncos. That could be a hell of a team. At the left shoe from Searski, the Jimmy fans will be coming in waves bashing Trey if he makes any mistakes this Sunday. It's coming. I hope not. I hope they are bigger people and can simply set aside whatever animosity they may have because of people's frustration with Jimmy. Give the rookie patience. Noah Woods, at Rob, trade Jimmy to the Steelers. He'd be a perfect fit. Plus, they have such a welcoming fan base for him. That's what I am saying, Noah. I said this earlier in the broadcast. Perhaps you had not joined in there. I believe that could be the fit. Absolutely do. Jason Els, at Rob Schuh, do you have any doubt the Niners can win this week after the Texans put up 41 against the Chargers? No, the Chargers defense is not quite as good. And any given Sunday, you got to take it seriously. The 49ers can win. Will they? That's up to them. That's up to them if they can, in fact, stop shooting themselves in the foot. Gabriel, again with compliment. Rob, you have a well-groomed facial hair. Thank you for that. I spend far too much time on it. Kidlow, at Rob Schuh, Hefe, Jennings, Dwelly, all catching touchdowns versus the Texans. Sorry, that would be fantastic. That would be great. I'm not sure which one Hefe is. Maybe he's Juice, Jennings, and Dwelly? Could be. Maybe. I would love to see it. Archie, at Rob, 11 versus 11 will be a good match. Kyle needs to make better game plan than the Arizona game, and please don't run Trey too much. I'm with you there. Let's get the ground game going with the running backs. And let Trey complement that. Lorenzo, at Rob Schuh, if we go 1-1 in the next 2 weeks, what are our playoff chances, big dog? It depends on what everyone else does. If we win, we are in. If we go 2-0, we control our own destiny. If we win this weekend and the Saints lose, we're in as well. Then it doesn't matter what we do in week 18. But if the Saints win and the Niners win, it comes down to week 18 and what happens there. Then we need to win to get in or some things happening for us. I hate it when you have to rely on others. I'd rather win and get in. V Breezy, at Rob, love the content. Thanks for giving me hope all the time with the Niners. You are welcome. George coming in, at Rob Schuh, another sneakerhead here. What's a top 5 shoes for you? I'm liking the dark powder 11s and red thunder 4s dropping next month. Also, what teams could you see trading for Jimmy? I have Pittsburgh atop of the list, and I'll be honest, I use the term sneakerhead because of the Rob Schuh moniker, but I'm less of a sneakerhead than you might guess. I do prefer a nice, wonderful leather dress shoe. It's probably not as exciting to a sneakerhead, a true sneakerhead. But the sneakerhead is truly just a play on the last name. Callie Young, at Rob, do you think Kyle will dial up more misdirection and bootleg action this time around with Trey? By the way, love the content, my brother. Go 49ers. Yes, I do believe that Kyle will have a more reasonable looking game plan, and it will incorporate some play action, which Trey did a lot in college. All right, I am going to get back to the last 2 previously submitted questions. This mailbag has gone long because you guys are fired up. I'm fired up, and then we will get into the comments one last time and then be out. Here we go. The last 2. These are quick over-unders. Over under. Lance 50 rushing yards and 250 passing yards came in from Chris, a sneakerhead of the channel via Twitter. To me, if it's either all over or all under, I'm taking the over. If it is over on both, if that's the question, I'm saying over on both. Last game against Arizona was 89 yards rushing and 102 passing. All he needed to do was hit a big bomb and we would have been there. I think we can do that. I'd rather split this, though. I think it goes the other direction from the last start with most of the damage happening through the air. I'm over on the 250 passing, but I want to go under on the 50 rushing because I think Shanahan reacts to that game plan he put out the last time. I'm saying averaging roughly 285 passing, 45 rushing. That's my official prediction. I'm going there. This last one was a joke, but I'm giving it airtime because, I like Tony putting it in there via Twitter. Over under 18 carries for Lance versus Houston, and he did have the LOL in there, so he was joking. I know this was tongue-in-cheek, but seriously, Coach Shanahan, please smash the under. Please. I'm begging you. Don't kill the man. Don't kill the rookie. All right, Team Prez Productions, at Rob. Trey will be fine. He has all his playmakers this game. He starts Kittle, was gone that Arizona, but Debo, Kittle, Brandon, Mitchell, Trent Williams, Jennings, man, he has everything right there for him. I'm just saying. I hope you are right about that. I hope you are. Looking for a couple of last comments as we close this thing out. Zombieland agrees. Yes, Schuh. Use Trey like Jimmy G. Just utilize his pros. Yes. Gabriel saying, Rob, you can change the chat settings to slow mode. I don't know what that is, but I need to find out. Gabriel, hit me up in the comments underneath the videos. I'll Google it. I will Google it. Sersky, at Rob Schuh, the Jimmy fans will be coming in waves bashing Trey. We did get into that one, and it's probably true, but I hope not. I hope not. Here we go. Jamal making a prediction here. Jamal, I think that Trey will torch the Texans for 240 plus, 60 and 3 touchdowns. 240 plus passing yards. He's pretty close to that over. 60 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. Do you think the defense will hold to help him, or are they going to let Trey's chance slip so Jimmy solidified? No. The defense will rise to the occasion. Everyone will rise to complement the rookie. Manuel, at Rob Schuh, has Trey improved his passes from uncatchable to passing with touch? Time will tell on that one. Time will tell. Nafiz, yes. Big Rob, have you ever mentioned what kind of camera you're using? I have. Sony A7C. Happy to share that. Goodness gracious. Falling apart here. Falling apart. Fishy Friends Aquatic says, what up, Rob? If Trey kills it like we hope he does, it'll make Kyle look bad. No, it'll make Kyle look great. It'll make Kyle look like he did the right thing. Let him stand behind Jimmy and get better behind the scenes, get some confidence, and then come in and have success. Man, if he lights the world on fire, that could be fantastic. That could be fantastic. Anthony Hickok, at Rob Schuh. Apparently, the 49ers can clinch one of the wild card spots on Sunday if they win and the Saints lose Carolina. Thank you, Anthony. Yes, I've been saying that. That is the truth. We can clinch this season. B. Sucka says, no rookie has ever won a Super Bowl. It's Trey time. Yes. It is Trey time. It is time for us to break that trend. Break that trend. All right, trying to catch up here in the comments because it is quite a bit. Here we go. The Ochos at Rob. Trey-offs are going to be lit. Also, teams trading for G-Spot will have a wink-wink contract renegotiation in place before he lands with his new team. That's what I've been saying. People are saying they don't want to take on his contract. They'll have a wink-wink, nudge-nudge type of a contract in place, agreement in principle before trading for him. Fordman 49, another car guy like myself, shout out. Do you think Trey Lance will take the league by storm the same way Kaepernick did and lead the 49ers to the Super Bowl? I don't know that I think it, but I hope it. I truly hope it. Touchdown San Francisco. Hefe is Jeff Wilson Jr. I should have known that. I should have known that one. Ellis 10, at Rob Schuh, just start telling peeps that you woke up with that beard. LOL. Yes, I should. I probably shouldn't admit just how much time is spent trying to get it in shape without being able to go to a barber. I tell you. YouTube sucks saying Rob Schuh should trade Mostert and Garoppolo in the same offseason because I love Mitchell, but Mostert is better. What do you think about that situation? Mostert he was on a 1-year deal, or the end of his deal. So I think he will probably be a free agent. I don't know if he'll be back. I don't know. Vikrant getting philosophical. Rob Schuh, is controlling your own destiny an oxymoron? It might be a paradox. It might be a paradox. Sersky, at Rob Schuh, Trey Lance will be coming into this offense with comfort. He will have a solid O-line, all his weapons, and Kyle calling the plays. Trey will be just fine. That is the type of positive stuff that I want to end on. I am coming through just to make sure that I didn't miss any super chats. I apologize Apologize if I missed your comments. Just did not have time to get to them all. We went close to an hour 45 on this one. I thought it was just going to be a 60-minute mailbag, but everybody was here and fired up. It is the Trey Lance energy that is getting everybody fired up. It is the rookie who have lifted us up to a place of optimism. Stay there, 49er faithful. Please be patient with the rookie. If you're going to be in Levi's Stadium, get loud. Get into the stadium early. Cheer him on. Please be patient. I am telling you. Keep that positive energy faithful. That is what is needed. I will say, only because I saw it so many times, and I'm not down to fire Kyle. I'm sorry, Breezy Cheeks in the chat, but I can't agree. Got to go timeout. One-time timeout before the end of the show for too frequently saying press like to fire Kyle. No, press like if you like the content. That's why. Sorry, Breezy Cheeks. Usually you're good, so that was just a timeout, not intended to offend, but just too many similar firing Kyle tweets, and I'm just not good with that because I enjoy Kyle Shanahan, what he is about to do with this rookie quarterback. I'm telling you, people, get excited, keep the expectations in check, but get the hope out. We are headed towards a big game this week. We are going to win this one against Houston. We are going to give Trey the support that he needs. It's going to be an exciting finish to this season, and I'm glad you're going to be here with me. I will go out one last time with the shout out to John Madden. John Madden passed away this day. If you missed it, started off the show with that. A serious moment because he does mean a lot to me. He meant a lot to me with what he did calling the game. He meant a lot to me with the video game he produced. I'll be honest, I spent hours playing that as a kid. I appreciate everyone who's here today. I appreciate you if you're just watching. I appreciate you if you're liking the video. I appreciate if you subscribe. And I certainly appreciate those sneakerheads that are a part of the channel. But this moment, this one's reserved for John Madden and what he brought to the NFL, what he brought to the game. Just my appreciation to him. This one's to you, John Madden.